maybe look at that thing that you've been like dreaming about and think like, what if that actually was an idea that came to me rather than an idea that I came up with? And if it came to me, then the provision for it is already available. And how much ease does that give you? How much peace can that give you? Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Sharon Let's Live with Marlene Dillon Empowerment Specialist. So today has been an interesting day. I had a major turnaround as far as my energy and my mood, and I'm really happy about that because I was just in such a bad place for the last few days. The shift took place with an awareness. Like I came across a Facebook post actually, and it was from Abraham Hicks, and the post said something like that we believe that our imaginations are things that we conjure up and almost like work, like we force it to happen or we make it happen, rather than how it really occurs is that we receive what we imagine. And it was just such a powerful perspective shift for me. I've never really heard anyone say that before. And it seems kind of like, yeah, right, like we think it. But when it comes to our thoughts, we often have thoughts that we would never think on our own. Like you can probably recall a point in your life where something crossed your mind that was like so jarring, so disturbing, so something you would never come up with on your own. And just in that awareness, even if you've never thought about it before, that thought didn't come from you, because you would never think that on your own. So our thoughts do come from elsewhere. There are various schools of thought in regard to where those thoughts come from, but we can just at least agree, I would say, that sometimes we have thoughts that we would not think on our own. And when sometimes we have thoughts that are like jarring and bad that we didn't think of on our own. And then there are other times when we have thoughts that are positive or that are so wise that we couldn't have like we wouldn't have figured that out on our own. It was like we received some type of higher guidance, as I refer to it. And just as it's possible to receive those kinds of unexpected or those thoughts that feel like they are not from us, that they came from some other place, the thought of having the things that I imagine, the things that I desire come from that positive divine place is such a beautiful thought. And I've chosen to believe it because when I come from that place, it shifts everything about imagining. It changes the belief that, okay, this is a dream. This is something that I'm trying to visualize. This is something that I really want. This is me trying really hard to picture myself having it. It's me trying really hard to picture who's going to give it to me and how's it going to happen and how's it going to work out and all of that stuff, like all the striving to receive and to manifest and all this stuff. And I realized that none of that's necessary, because if the idea came to me from the divine, then the provision for it to happen is also guaranteed. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to stress about. There's nothing for me to really be anxious about, because I'm kind of like the final piece. So it's more like the things I desire are suggestions that came from from above. Like, would you like that? And I'm like, and my job is really to say, yeah, I would love that. And then allow it to come in, rather than I'm trying to think of how am I going to do this? How am I going to figure that out? How am I going to figure that out? And I think that it's in, like I was talking about a couple of days ago on the podcast, that our job is not to focus on the how. Our job is not to figure out the how. Our job is to focus on the what and the why, and to follow through on any guidance that we receive that is toward the goal. And sometimes we don't know that it's toward the goal. Sometimes it is just guidance, like call this person or go to this place. I've had that happen. I actually, and I'm going to be selling this ceramics piece that I did that I call Violet Goddess, I believe is the name that I gave it. And I ended up taking a ceramics class. And it's something that I wanted to do for a very long time, but I didn't really pursue it. But one day I was following guidance, and it was just like, go to this park and just park there and hang out. So I just drive over to the park. So I'm just sitting there for a while. And then like after sitting there for a minute, just enjoying actually I was there with my daughter today, just sitting and talking. But yeah, so I get the idea to grab my stuff and go inside. And I'm like, what am I going to do there? You know, like, but it was just like go inside. So as I'm going inside, it was just like, maybe I'll see what kind of activities they have over here or something. Not that that's something I would normally do. Like, I don't think I had ever done a park district activity. But it was just like, I'm just going to follow this guidance. Like, it was just really strong to be there and to go in at that time. So I go in and I'm like standing at the front desk and I'm just like, hi, you know, like, what kind of activities do you have, you know, or whatever. And then the woman who's at the desk, she starts, you know, telling me about the different activities. And then she tells me that she has this class that's for seniors, you know, but technically I could probably take the class or whatever, but it was a class, a ceramics class or whatever. And I was just like, wow, I've always, you know, enjoyed ceramics, like, cause I had taken a ceramics class way earlier when I was like 12 and I hadn't gone back, but it was something I really enjoyed. And, anyway, so she tells me about the class and then she's kind of like, well, you should sign up. You know, like, do you live in the area? And I'm like, yeah, you know, and she's just like, yeah, you should sign up, you know, just stop by and, you know, and check it out. So I think that it might've been that same day that she happened to be about to leave the front desk. So she took me to the like art room and gave me like a little tour and showed me the kind of work that the class does and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, this is really cool. I want to do that. You know, why not? So anyway, I ended up signing up for the class. And my point is, and I ended up doing like quite a few pieces of ceramics, quite a few ceramic pieces. I've like donated some, I've sold some, you know, and it ended up being like a really fun thing because it was the first thing, like I didn't think that I had the skills to like paint faces and things like that, but I allowed myself to try with these sculptures and I ended up doing some really beautiful work. So I may post it on my website, I'm not sure, but I will post it somewhere, probably social media, because I only have one piece left to that I'll sell, and yeah, and it's gonna be kind of like a first come first serve type of thing. Anyway, so, but the point is that I didn't have like deep, you know, go and take a ceramics class guidance. My guidance was drive over here and park. Okay, get out the car right now. Go in the building. Talk to them about, you know, the classes they offer. Like, it wasn't anything super deep. And then it turned into something that ended up being like such a rich experience. I learned so much in that class. I bonded with the women in the class. They, you know, were giving me like parenting advice and life advice. And it was just cool because I was like the youngest person in the room. And, you know, and they just embraced me and we just had such a good time. And I learned so much about, you know, like aging, but like the opposite of what TV tells you about aging. Because these women are in their 80s and they're skiing and, you know, they're doing all kinds of stuff. They got a skydiving club. Like, they're just doing all kinds of stuff. And, and it's just like, wow, you know, like just having a completely different experience of what it means to age. And they're like aging gracefully. And they're just like in this place of like, I can do whatever I want. I'm free to do me now. And I just had such a rich experience, working with them and I made like another friend because someone from another park came over and they needed someone to teach them how to do the ceramic stuff. And since I had gotten used to doing my own pieces, I was able to teach them and then we became friends and now me and him are cool. And it's just like, all of this richness that came from the simple guidance of drive over here and park, get out the car, go talk to them about this random thing and my daughter, she even came to class with me. Sometimes she learned how to do ceramic stuff. So she's like done the whole process of like pouring and, and creating a piece and like sanding it down and all of it. Like she's, and painted her own piece, like, what's called glazing. My teacher would be mad if I said painting, but it's just like such a rich experience or whatever. And we never really know what the guidance will be. But the thing is that what I realize is that all of the details came together because like that in particular is not something that I had been stressed about. I've been thinking like I would love to take a ceramics class for a very long time, and then the opportunity just kind of flowed right in. If it had been something that I had been stressing about, like, how am I ever going to take a ceramics class? I don't know how. I got to figure out how to, like, if I had been doing that, maybe that opportunity wouldn't have opened up to me because I had, like, muddied up the trail with all that anxiety, like I do with money. So, so this experience today of, realizing, like, maybe the plan is given to me and it really is just for me to say yes to it. It just took so much of the pressure off and the anxiety and, because I wasn't sleeping, I was barely eating. I was just stressed out of my mind. Well, I'm still in my mind, but it was really, really getting to me. And, but today that hit me. And then there was another, phrase that was related that I saw somewhere else, and it was like all these little messages along the way, just saying like, just believe that everything's going to work out. And that's what I'm just trusting, is that everything has worked out. Like I was saying, like, to focus on being in the end. So I'm focusing from the end, and I'm just accepting and keep reminding myself it's already done. It's already done. It's already done. Anyway, so I guess, so your challenge, if you need a challenge, if you didn't gain it from this, is for you to focus on the end and to maybe look at that thing that you've been like dreaming about and think like, what if that actually was an idea that came to me rather than an idea that I came up with? And if it came to me, then the provision for it is already available. And how much ease does that give you? How much peace can that give you? Anyway, this is Marlene Dillon Empowerment Specialist. Have an amazing whatever time of day it is for you. Blessings. To learn more about me, Marlene Dillon Empowerment Specialist, please visit mdillondesigns.com. There you can find more podcast episodes. You can read my inspirational blog. You can check out my online store of personalized gifts featuring the characters from my empowering children's book, I'm Proud to Be Natural Me. You can find parenting resources, including my online communication course, Healing Our Families, Healing the Parent-Child Relationship. Please follow and share if you found this podcast inspiring. Thank you, and have an amazing day.